It's Women's Month, and quite frankly, the Muslim community is not short of incredible women. Assalamu alaikum and shukran for joining us on An Nur the Light. We start off today's program with a look at the role and challenges faced by businesswomen in South Africa.
Powerful Muslim businesswomen are on the rise as heads of industry, entrepreneurs and thought leaders. They need look no further than Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's wife, Khadija, as a role model. Shehnaaz Gabru is the president of the Businesswomen's Association of South Africa, and as such is the voice of the most prominent women in business and professional leaders in the country.
I'm the Businesswomen's Association of South Africa president. So my role is really to drive the strategy and direction of the BWA and represent the BWA in terms of leadership events, economic events, etc. And really to ensure that the Businesswomen's Association delivers on its mission and vision of being a platform for the inspiration and empowerment of women. We look at women across income bands at different levels. So we have programs that are specific for women in leadership. We have programs for middle management, for entry level, and for rural development. So it's really to ensure that we are the voice of women within the South African context and that we are contributing to nation building, transformation, and socioeconomic growth. The exciting thing for us is to watch how our programs and events have impacted women within the South African context and to watch them grow in their respective fields.
Firoz Oten, director of the AVTS Roadworthy Stations, former vice president of BWASA and CEO of the South African branch of the German multinational testing, inspection and certification company TUV SUD, is a woman who certainly believes in going where no woman has gone before.
I think women in any business are contributing greatly to the economy, and sometimes it is in a family business. A lot of those times it is in a family business. I'm involved with the retail motor industry, and 80% of our businesses are small businesses, the mama-papa businesses, where traditionally the males in the family have the technical roles and the women have the administrative roles and take accountability for finances, and they have the attention to detail. But you are seeing a change from that to women moving into a more technical environment. But they play a very big role and they are very accountable and responsible.
If you're looking at any development economy, women make up more than 50% of the population and over 45% of the workforce. But from a salary perspective, women are still only earning about 60 to 70 of the equivalent salary of a man. They work about 2/3 of the world's working hours, yet they earn less than 10% of world income and own less than 1% of property. Part of the reason why I took on the role as BWA president is because I think I've always had an activist mindset even when I was young. And I couldn't understand why the world was unfair and why all people did not have equal opportunity, whether it be education, whether it be housing, whether it be from a healthcare services perspective. And how can we as women make a difference in a country that has such extreme disparity from a poverty perspective and employment perspective?
Support is often the most important aspect of going it alone. Women entering the business world often don't have the support they should, and that is why an environment of mentorship and training must be nurtured.
It's absolutely critical to ensure that, one, you have a good mentor, particularly in your 20s or in university, and that you, when you are in leadership, consider mentoring others. And mentorship has been seen as critical to success for a number of reasons. Within your own environment, you are sometimes surrounded by people that will always tell you that you're good in what you do. And you need someone who's independent, who has succeeded, someone that you aspire to be like, to actually be your voice of reason and truth. So the role of the mentor, and it's a process that you take very seriously. So it's a commitment from yourself and a commitment from the mentor to say that you will engage at least a few times in the year. And the role of the mentor is to understand you as an individual. What is your technical skills and capability? What are your passions? What excites you? What motivates you to get up and go to work? Are you aligned in terms of what you're doing from a workplace perspective, that the best of you is what you bring to work every single day, and you are able to live your highest human potential?
Despite the barriers that have previously hindered women from achieving, women have the unmatched ability to uplift others on their way to the top. Organizations like the Businesswomen's Association of South Africa play a vital role in contributing towards galvanizing the next generation of women business moguls.
Interestingly enough, the very first person to embrace Islam was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's first wife, Sayyidatina Khadija. She is known as the mother of the believers and was a successful businesswoman herself. Our popular street style segment is up next, and we're looking forward to seeing what Cape Town has to offer.
Style to me is basically my mood. I feel like it expresses who I am on a certain day and a certain time. My style differs from day to day, from hour to hour. I like a more minimalistic way of dressing, so I tend to go for something that's very easy and convenient for myself. I choose what I want to wear according to what is compliant to Islam. Dressing Islamically doesn't have to be boring and mundane. I try and make it a bit more modern for my age and the Western country that we're living in. The necklace was a birthday present last month from my sister-in-law, and I love this outfit. It makes me happy.
I have two different types of style. One is this very semi-formal, casual look. I wear a lot of loafers, a lot of boat shoes. I feel comfortable in them. I don't like to conform to these formal shoes. My jeans, I go for very light shades of denim often. So I feel like it goes well with my skin tone. It's a really nice cut, a little bit of rips here and there. I like the rip look because it's just normal straight-cut jeans just don't work for me. It just epitomizes the concepts behind the 5 pillars of Islam. So the shirt at the moment says, it's Arabic writing, but it stands for hope. Shirt, it's just nice to go over a t-shirt, leave it open. It's a lot more casual. And the shirt does add a little bit of a formal look to your thing, but leaving it open just keeps it in.
Style to me is your own sense of uniqueness in the way in which you dress or you carry yourself. My style is very simplistic. I like neutral colors and neutral clothes. Islam influences my style in the sense that it's modest, yet still modern. I love coats, and I've probably got like a few coats in more or less the same shade. And I think it just finishes off the outfit and makes it look classy and stylish. I think I chose few accessories because it ties in with my style, so I like really simple things. This is a Pandora bracelet, and I'm wearing a ring with a pearl on it. It was a gift from a friend of mine, and I chose to wear this because it's me. It depicts who I am.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and post your comments on our pages. There's also our monthly events calendar where you can share what's happening in your neck of the woods. But do remember to send information well in advance. Shehnaaz Gabru is a woman who gives heart and soul to her job, and we got to spend some time with her to show you just what that means.
There are few professions nobler than that of the social worker. For most, making a difference includes sporadic acts of kindness when required. But for others, like Shehnaaz Gabru, making a difference is daily dedication to the safeguarding, development and upliftment of those who cannot do for themselves.
My first choice was not social work, it was veterinary science. But back in the day, you had to go away to become a veterinary surgeon. But I liked the interaction, so I then decided that I wanted to do social work. I went for career guidance counseling, and they said my next option was social work. And got into it, and when we got to in our third year, we do practicals, and that's when you actually go into people's homes, you do the home visits, and then you realize, you sit back and think, everybody's got a story to tell. Some people are really down and out, and they don't have an extended family or a support network to listen to. And there you come, people revel when the social worker comes, somebody to talk to. And that made me realize that I'm doing an important job. There's an important role for me to have in society. And it just grew from strength to strength from there.
When I married into the family, I realized that they have a lot of, love and what you care for underprivileged children, for animals. A very humble, very unique family. And the thing that inspired me a lot is that Shehnaaz was married before. They couldn't have any kids, and they adopted 2 orphan kids, and that really, really touched me.
Shehnaaz is a senior manager and acting director of Child Welfare Durban and District, a role she has played for the past 6 years. Her duties include coordinating staff development and training programs, drafting annual reports required by the Department of Social Development, and fundraising.
I've been a social worker for almost 20 years, and I started off with disabilities. I have to say I started off with disabilities. I was a provincial director for disabilities, and that was straight out of university. And at that time, I thought disabilities was the all and end all. And then I adopted my son, and I had to leave work. And I then realized that the childcare field seemed quite, being a mother then, the childcare field seemed quite attractive. And I started off at a children's home, as manager at a children's home. And when you see the kind of children that come into the facilities, the abused, the abandoned, the neglected, the ones that have no voice, you realize that I need to be an ambassador for them. I need to do something for them. And that is when I became very proactive in my social work. When you see a child that's been repeatedly abused, scars on their body, and they still look at you with so much of trust and love, and you think, you have to be there to do something for these children. The stories are very, very sad, the things that we come across. But being able to have the offender prosecuted for something like that, and to set an example for child care and child protection, is what makes me go on now.
She also oversees the management of 4 child and youth care centres, including the William Clark Otanweni Child and Youth Care Centre, the Edith Benson Child and Youth Care Centre, and the Lake Haven Zamani Child and Youth Care Centre. Her key function at Child Welfare Durban and District is to ensure that all of the policies and procedures of these youth care centres are adhered to, ensuring effective service is delivered to the often vulnerable young people these centres serve.
We have 3 child and youth care centres. One is a baby's home. One caters for children between 6 and 18. And then we have, 2 actually cater for children between 6 and 18. And the third one is a home for boys who previously lived on the street, so a home for ex-street kids. So any child that comes into these facilities has got to be found to be a child in need of care. That means social worker, we have in Child Welfare Durban District, we have our community services, leg of services, which if somebody calls and says, here's a child that's being abused, they will go and investigate. If you find that the child is being repeatedly abused, the child needs to be removed to a safe environment, they go to the children's court, where the Commissioner of Child Welfare determines that the child needs to come into the home. So my job then is to manage the 3 managers of the 3 child and youth care centres to ensure that the children have proper meals, clothing, education, that their spiritual needs are attended to in all aspects of their life. It's like you would care for a child in their own environment. And of course, at the same time that this is happening, we try to reunify the child back to a family member, extended or otherwise, related or unrelated, or put the child up for adoption if you realize that the route to the family is not worth exploring, that the child will still be a child in need of care if we remove them back to their families.
This is the woman who puts practice to what she preaches. Her children Yusuf and Zahra are both adopted, and she considers herself truly blessed.
For whatever reasons, we're unable to have our own children, and when my son was adopted, when the Mufti had come to do the adhan in his ear, the Mufti said to me that, do Do you know when this child's ruh was created, Allah has already determined that he was going to come to your home, that you were going to be his mum. And that for me has impacted. I mean, my children are like my very own. My daughter I adopted her from the Edith Benson Babies Home. So, I believe that she was there for a reason, and I was there for a reason at the stage, and we met in that way. And being a child welfare also, we have so many children in our child and youth care centers that are needing families. So my role, I believe that Allah has placed me here in the child welfare because I'm able to persuade people to go the adoption way. So just my story to these parents is very motivational and inspiration to them as well.
She's got a fantastic heart, very giving heart, strong personality in the sense that she can work with any type of people. She doesn't really bring problems home. She doesn't accept defeat. Shehnaaz never accepts defeat. She will always come through, and whatever it is, whether it's regarding kids or families that are underprivileged or regarding home matters, she doesn't give up.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "There are many doors to goodness, enjoining good, forbidding evil, removing harm from the road, guiding one to the object of his need, hurrying with the strength of one's legs to one in sorrow who is asking for help, and supporting the weak with the strength of one's arms." Shehnaaz is living proof of this.
Technology can vastly improve our lives if used correctly. This is why we have a monthly insert which specifically looks at apps, tech, as well as books. Let's see what's in store for this month.
Written by accredited coach Saida Habib, Life Coaching for Muslims is the quintessential read for anyone interested in transforming their lives for the better. Using select verses from the Quran and sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Saida has mapped out a simplified formula for creating positive changes for an empowered life. From goal setting to enhancing self-esteem, Life Coaching for Muslims provides spiritual wisdom to discover the best possible version of you. Want to create 5-star baked delights with ease? The Perfect Bake is the latest savvy device designed to make baking foolproof. The device is a combination of a real-time digital scale and free mobile app guiding users to baking perfection. Simply plug the device into your smartphone or tablet, select a recipe from the database, and let Perfect Bake guide you through. From ingredient proportion control to timing, Perfect Bake ensures confectionery excellence every time. Perfect Bake comes with mixing bowls, a smart scale, a phone or tablet stand, an oven thermometer, and hundreds of recipes to choose from or add to. The technology is compatible with iOS and Android. Preparing to pass a learner's license test can be tedious and time-consuming. To streamline the process, why not try the K53 test app? Based on the official K53 manual, the app features over 200 multiple-choice questions and answers, ensuring an easy pass. Questions are categorized into 3 classifications: vehicle controls, rules of the road, and road signs, which are reordered every time you complete a mock test. Practice and perfect your knowledge with K53 Test app.
Food remains a day-to-day aspect of life, and Lamise du Toit's simple yet tasty recipes make it that much more pleasurable.
So we're living in an era of the soccer mom. I have to admit that I'm a rugby mom to 3 boys, and they're always wanting fast food. And when I say fast food, I mean food fast. And this is one of my quick and easy, foolproof recipes that I can make for the boys that's good for them, low on the junk food, low on the oil, and with great nutritional value. And all that you need to make this is the following ingredients: 800 grams of chicken fillet. I'm going to marinate this with a tablespoon of fresh garlic, a tablespoon of oregano. Please note that the fresh is the better version. I've got about a teaspoon of salt, and bear in mind chicken always takes more salt than meat does, so salt to taste. The juice of about half a lemon and 50 ml of olive oil. So to start off, I'm going to blitz all of this together, make a marinade, let that infuse into my chicken while I make the dipping sauce. So in my 50 ml of olive oil, I'm adding a tablespoon of garlic. And the reason why I blitz all of this together is nobody likes to bite into a chunk of raw garlic, unless of course it's been roasted for hours. I've got my oregano, salt to taste, and the juice of a lemon. I'm saving the rest of the lemon to just pour over the chicken once we fried them off later. A few zaps of that. I'm gonna pour over the marinade and let this just sit. The longer it sits, obviously the tastier your chicken. My boys are always too hungry to let it sit for more than 5 minutes. That's literally the time that it takes to make the sauce. Okay, we just mix this through and let all of this sit to one side. Now the next thing we're gonna do is nobody likes a dry piece of chicken with nothing to dip it into. And what I'm going to make is sort of a tzatziki, sort of a raita, but there's sort of meat in between. And what you need are the following ingredients. I've got 500 ml of double cream plain yogurt. I've got a handful of coriander, just lightly chopped. I've got a 10 centimeter piece of cucumber that I've grated. I've got 1 chili to taste, just for that extra kick. It is optional. I've got salt to taste, a teaspoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of garlic. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take just a quarter cup of my 500 ml of yogurt, and I'm going to add to that the coriander. Now, in my family, we like things hot, so it's not going to get de-seeded. It's just going to get chopped up very loosely. Pop into that. And now for my seasoning, and that little bit of sugar, salt to taste, garlic, because garlic makes everything better, and just literally a teaspoon of lemon juice, just to take the edge off of that sugar. And that's it, all done. And if you're wondering why I'm making 500 ml, it's because the sauce is so yum. You always want to have some leftovers in your fridge. Now for the cucumber, I don't add it as is, but rather I'm going to take it in bits, squeeze out the extra moisture, and then pop it into my sauce. The reason why I squeeze all the moisture out of my cucumber is because you don't want your yogurt sauce to separate. You want it to keep that nice thick consistency so it sticks to the end of your piece of chicken before you take a bite. So all I'm going to do now is lightly mix this through and then add the rest of my yogurt, because this is still nice and thick. The blending makes it a little bit runnier. So now you've got delicious dipping sauce, chicken marinated, 3 hungry boys, and then we have a delicious sauce, good to go. Perfect seasoning. So in a hot pan, which I want considerably warm, and I want my pan to be warm first before I add my olive oil. I'm going to put in olive oil liberally, the one time that the oil is good for you. And now all I need to do is grab the chicken. And these will literally be marinating for about 5 minutes. And this, I can guarantee, with nothing but just a squeeze of fresh lemon on your chicken and a tear of pita bread, is the best fast food by far.
We do post the recipes on our Facebook page, so be sure to check them out. And if you're going to be making them yourself, let us know how it goes. Jazakallah for joining us. I hope you leave motivated and inspired. To my sisters, I wish you a happy Women's Day and month. From me, Maria Mukwanda, Salang Hantle, Assalamu alaikum.